This passage is from Isaiah 25:8. He will swallow up death forever. And this is talking about the second advent. But like I said, you can apply second advent scriptures to the rapture as well. He will swallow up death forever. The sovereign Lord will wipe away the tears from all faces. He will remove his people's disgrace from all the earth. The Lord has spoken. And so you can see that death is a great cause of grief for people in the ancient world. In the ancient world, such as here in the Old Testament times, and New Testament times as well. The Corinthians and many of the Romans, they used to focus so much on the death, they were preoccupied with the dead. And so they used to go into tombs and put all these cute ornaments and appliques and all these things, you know, assuming that somehow they were making a benefit and making the transition for the dead into whatever place they're going. They're going to make it easier. Obviously, this is a pagan custom. This is not Christian. But I'm just talking about the people in general, the Romans and the Greeks, the Egyptians, thinking about the afterlife. And so they used to put all these things and belongings and precious things so as to make their life more comfortable in the afterlife. People are preoccupied with death all the time. Death is it produces a lot of fear in many people. And people do many things to counter this fear of death. And they'll give into health things and not eat this, do not eat that, almost neurotically, religiously, because they're trying to avoid the reality of death. And death is a beautiful thing if you have a personal sense of destiny. And like I said, the beautiful thing is that everyone is going to face death. And there's not going to be anyone who's going to accompany you. If you're a believer, then guess who's going to accompany you? It is the Holy Spirit and the Shekinah glory inside of you, the indwelling of Christ. So you have nothing to worry about. But no, the unbeliever is preoccupied. Even to this day, everyone's scared of death. And just as the Romans and the Greeks and their pagan customs, they used to give these little things to the dead so as to give them a little bit of favor to make their life easier or their transition to the afterlife. We also do that today. Why do you think people pray the rosary for the dead? Assuming that they're doing something for their deceased beloved one. Because many people try to assuage a guilt complex towards the dead one. The mad sister who always mistreated, abused her other sister, and now that abused sister is dead. Well, that sister who remains alive, now she has a guilt complex. My dead sister, and she knows she has it in her conscience, her guilty conscience, that she really made her life impossible. And now she's dead. What's the best thing she can do? I'm going to pray the rosary for her. I'm going to do something for her so that I can feel better about myself, so that I can assuage this guilt feeling. And so many times, a lot of these customs for the dead is for the benefit of those who remain alive. Also, just the burial. Oh, I'm going to bury you there so that I can go and visit you, son, and I can pray for you. And that's just for the benefit of the one that's alive. Many times, yes. But we have a personal sense of destiny. We're going to have a resurrection body. We don't have to worry so much about death. In fact, we don't have to worry at all because it's the Lord who decides. And if He decides for me to die right now at this moment, and so be it. His omniscience knows everything. His wisdom knows better than my cheap wisdom. Human viewpoint, I mean. Okay, so verse 55. Now it says, let me look at the translation for you. So now, death has been swallowed up in victory. Verse 55. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? And this is a passage from Hosea 13:14 in the Old Testament. Only this part. Where, O death, is your victory? Let's look at this, 55. And we have a vocative. Here we have a nominative. Look, thanatos. Here we have a vocative, thanate. And this vocative is when you address someone. Such as, kurios, Lord, is the nominative. But when you say kurie, is when you're calling the Lord. Kurie. Thanate. Death. Oh, death. That's what we put. Oh, death is talking to death. Oh, death. Where? Poo. This is the interrogative adverb. Poo. of you, where of yours? What is it talking about? To kentron. Where is your sting? Kentron. And what does it mean by sting? It is used in the Greek as the scorpion's tail that has a sting. It stings you and it hurts and it causes something inside of you. It swells you up. Or is used for the goad that was used to move the oxen. So you held a great stick with a pointy edge, and so that was goading the oxen. So death, where is your sting? Oh wait, yeah, no, sorry. I got ahead of myself. Okay, now you know the meaning of the second clause. Here's the first clause. To nikos, O death, again, thanate, pu su, where, pu, tonikos, tonikol, no, tonikos is, where's your victory? The victory. Every time a person died physically and experiencing that nasty, terrible process of, having your body exposed and rotting, decomposing, and all this, that's a victory for physical death. But now, since death has been swallowed up and everyone's in a resurrection body, now you can say, oh death, where is your victory? Tonikos su, you're the victory of you. Oh death, where is your victory? And now we can continue on with death, oh death, where the sting of yours, of you. Oh death, where is your sting? And verse 56 says, the sting of death is sin, and the power of sin is the law. De, now, to kentron. We have a predicate nominative here. We have no verb. It's elided. There's an ellipsis. Elided. To kentron, the sting. The sting, and they hear of the sting of thanato, the sting belonging to death, to thanato, is, so the sting of death is he hamartia, sin, the sin nature. So the sting of physical death is the sin nature. The sin nature inside of us is what has made this body cursed since the curse of Adam and Eve. We have this sin nature here reminding us that we're dying, we will die. We will die is the part of physical death. So this is the sin nature. And many times hamartia is used as sin, personal sin, or it could be used as the principle of sin. And here it is used as the sin nature. And hey, dunamis, the power. And the power belonging, now we have the genitive of possession, the power belonging to the sin nature, so it's a predicate nominative. We should insert estin as we did over here, but I forgot to mention it. The power of the sin nature is ho nomos, the law. Codex number 1, Codex number 2, Codex number 3 of the Mosaic Law. So what do you mean the power of the sin nature is the law? Well, in the Old Testament, the law was given, and many people through the energy of their flesh would be able to fulfill the law. Nothing but do-goodism, energy of the flesh, altruism, etc. They were able to keep the commandments. And what happens? What is the result after keeping the commandments? You become arrogant about it. You become self-righteous. You become full of self-importance, pompous. And congratulations. After fulfilling the law, you only remain more enmeshed in the sin nature and the function of the sin nature. You approached the law, trying to stop yourself from committing all these sins produced by the sin nature, and you finally were able to do it. You conquered it by fulfilling the law, but now you become arrogant about it. And congratulations, you're still in the sin nature. So there's nothing wrong with the law. The law is perfect, but the sin nature takes advantage of the law. The sin nature also takes advantage in the law that it likes doing something that you're not supposed to do. And when there is no law, then there's nothing that the sin nature can take advantage or like going against. And so that's another topic there. When you know you're not supposed to do something, the sin nature likes it even more. So now we have the translation. The sting. Now, the sting of death is the sin nature, and the power of the sin nature is the law.